Now I would like to introduce you to some of our references, some of our recent project with Quetzal. We have been doing models with Quetzal since 2016, but more models since 2018, and there are currently over 20 operational Quetzal models in over 15 countries. In this presentation, I would like to stress on 4 models because they are different and they can give you an insight of what we can do with Quetzal in with different purposes. The first one will be Clermont-Ferrand in France. The second one will be Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. And then we will see the urban model of Montreal, and then the regional timetable-based model of Région Sud. I'll start with Clermont-Ferrand because it is the simplest one. T2C, the bus operator wanted to do a bus reorganization based on the data of a comprehensive onboard origin-destination survey. The aim was to assign the public transport demand calculated from the survey on the public transport network scenarios, in order to do traffic forecasts. The daily number of boarding, which was the aim, the forecasted daily number of boardings of the new lines, is calculated from seven periods through the day. In each period, we decided to use the iterative pruning algorithm and evaluate the itineraries with a nested logit, so that what I presented earlier. And these 7 period specific models can run in parallel and then be aggregated in less than 5 minutes total. The overall implementation and study took 2 to 3 months. And we did the same thing in Limoges, which is another city in France. That was the simplest one. Then I'd like to present you another urban model, which was developed in the mark of the Sustainable Urban Mobility Plan, or the Transport Plan of Santo Domingo for the French Development Agency, AFD. And unlike Clermont-Ferrand, the main input was not a public transport origin destination survey, but a household survey that we organized. The transport plan and the survey show a wide variety of public and private modes. Consequently, we built a model that takes into consideration many public modes as well as the cars, and we implemented the full 4-step sequence: generation, distribution, pathfinder, and logit. But besides its wider scope, what I want to stress in this model is that the model and its data are open source and available on GitHub. Nowadays, it is mainly used not by us, but by the Dominican Transport Authority. The next example, the urban model of Montreal, is even more complete than the one in Santo Domingo. And we developed it in the mark of a pre-feasibility study for a light rail and a light rail or a tramway line, so a pre-feasibility study. And in this model, in addition to the public and private modes, we implemented a capacity-constrained park and ride pathfinder with incentive parking. The assignment procedure is based on the method of successive averages that loops over the assignment and the logit step to comply with these capacity constraints. It is a 24-hour model where all the periods of the day are modeled independently and they can run simultaneously. The capacity constraint park and ride and the 24-hour modeling, parallel modeling, makes it a quite complete model. What I wanted to stress is that the input data is significant with over 1,000 zones and 1,000 lines. And however, we managed to make it to make an efficient design that runs in less than 10 minutes and that can be stored in a 100 megaoctet folder. So it's really a light and fast model for the complexity and size of the input. The last one I wanted to present you is a timetable-based intercity model, which is different in that sense that we don't use the frequency of the lines, but the very departure time and arrival time of each train, say. It was developed in the mark of the design of a bus and train roadmap at a regional scale, so it's for transport planning. And we had to develop to implement the connection scan algorithm, which is a timetable-based public transport pathfinder. And it enumerates for all the zones of the region, for all the origin, for all the destination at any time of the day, all the possible itineraries. And that's, in the end, that's a huge number of itineraries, more than 10 million that we enumerate for a day in order to model a day. And the full workflow is quite fast with this model as well, with the possibilities to simulate 24 hours in less than 10 minutes. And I think that's it for to give you a broad variety of models with various aims. They can be pre-feasibility studies in the case of Montreal, or transport planning in the case of the Sud region, or Santo Domingo, or bus reorganization in the case of Clermont-Ferrand and Limoges. And this is, I think it's a nice overview. Then I'd like to conclude this presentation with the perks of my feeling on the perks of Quetzal. The first perk, the first advantage I see in using Quetzal is a higher software model integration, which enables us, transport modeler, to better automate from raw inputs to outputs, which means that we then reach a higher reactivity during the studies because everything is automated. And it also enables for a more efficient workflow. And the models are faster and lighter because we can only trigger the algorithm we want, and we don't have to comply with the logic of with the software. Then there is no methodological limitation. We can do 100% custom models, and when there is something that we want to model that is not in the library, we can just look it up on the internet and look for the algorithm we want. We just have to implement it then, and that's it. So we can do exactly what we want with this framework. Then, when like I was saying in introduction, there is no black box with Quetzal, because this is an open source library, and we can see not only the description of the algorithms, but the very algorithms, the very sources of the algorithm, and it is clearer than closed source software. And then there is something that I didn't explain a lot in this presentation, but we can explain it further in the Q&A. It benefits from a great collaborative versioning tool, which is cloud-based and which is named Git. It is usually used for software engineering, but since Quetzal models are softwares, we can use this nice tool to do the versioning of the models and to share these models with our clients and partners. Finally, it is free, and if it's me to And I would like to add that it is fun to use. So that's the main point for me. But yeah, here are the perks of Quetzal. Thank you for your attention. And if you have a question, I will be really glad to answer them.